The courtroom was silent, the kind of silence that makes even the air feel heavy. Every person seated on the hard wooden benches knew they were about to witness something explosive. But no one expected what would follow. Judge Edward Chen, a man infamous for his iron fist and inflated ego, sat towering above the rest, his black robe draped over him like a cloak of power. His gavel was not just a tool of justice, it was his weapon, his way of reminding everyone that in this courtroom, his word was law. He had built his reputation not on fairness, but on dominance. And today, he would meet the one man he could not silence, Senator John Neely Kennedy. John Kennedy had walked into the courthouse that morning with his usual unassuming demeanor. He wasn't there for fame, nor to grandstand. He had been invited to testify in a case involving judicial overreach, corruption, and violations of constitutional rights. For Kennedy, it was about protecting ordinary Americans who were too often crushed under the weight of arrogance and unchecked power. But for Judge Chen, it was an opportunity, a chance to humiliate a man whose voice carried further than his gavel ever could. The proceedings began with Chen leaning forward, his thin lips curling into a smirk. "Well, Senator Kennedy," he said mockingly, "I suppose you think your position in Washington entitles you to lecture me on how I run my courtroom. Let's make one thing clear, you may have power in politics, but in here, you are nothing." The words hung in the air like venom. Some in the audience gasped, while others shifted uncomfortably, knowing Chen was stepping far beyond professional boundaries. Kennedy remained calm, his hands folded in front of him, his gaze steady. He didn't flinch, didn't raise his voice. Instead, he replied with quiet dignity. "Judge Chen," Kennedy began, his southern drawl measured and firm, "I didn't come here to lecture you. I came here to stand for people who don't have the chance to speak for themselves. Power isn't about robes or titles, it's about responsibility. And responsibility means treating people with fairness and respect, no matter who they are." Chen slammed his gavel. "Enough," he barked, his face reddening. "You will not grandstand in my courtroom. You are here as a witness, not a preacher." He leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Frankly, Senator, I find your presence here insulting. Men like you, career politicians, are the reason this country is a mess. And you think you can lecture me?" A murmur rippled through the room. Kennedy's supporters, who had come quietly to observe, shifted in their seats, their patience wearing thin. Yet Kennedy stayed calm. He stood, looking directly at Chen, his voice low but carrying through the chamber. "Judge, you can insult me all you want. But when you use your bench to belittle, to intimidate, and to crush the very people you swore to serve, you're not serving justice. You're serving yourself." That was the breaking point.